The stars of today's video hardly need an introduction. The A-10 and the Su-25 were born around the same time, but on opposite sides of the Cold War. Both were created with the same mission in mind: build an aircraft capable of providing direct air support to ground troops. And it's safe to say that their designers succeeded. These aircraft went on to become one of the most recognizable and iconic planes in their countries. They destroyed enemy armor by the hundreds, and sometimes even engaged in dogfights. They became the very symbols of the close air support jet of the late 20th century and remain in active service to this day. Yet, fate never allowed them to meet head-to-head in real combat. While the United States was focused on the Middle East, the Soviet Union was trying to bring its long and costly war in Afghanistan to an end. So in this video, we'll stage a virtual duel, round by round, category by category. We'll compare their speed, firepower, survivability, combat history, and much more. Just like in boxing, the winner gets 10 points, the loser 9 or 8, and in the case of an even round, 9-9. So which one is technically superior? Who deserves the crown of the deadliest attack aircraft of the 20th century? Let's find out. Round 1. Dimensions and weight. The A-10 Thunderbolt II has a wingspan of 17.53 meters, a length of 16.26, and a height of 4.47. By comparison, the Soviet Su-25 Frogfoot is smaller, spanning 14.36 meters and stretching 15.36 in length, but it rises a bit higher, 4.8 meters, thanks to its elongated vertical stabilizer. In terms of empty weight, the A-10 comes in at 9,176 kilograms, while the Su-25 weighs 9,430 kilograms. Despite being larger, the American jet is actually a bit lighter by a few hundred kilos. But no one flies an attack jet empty. Let's compare combat loads. The A-10's average takeoff weight is around 13,628 kilograms, while the Su-25 carries about 14,600. However, when it comes to maximum capacity, the Thunderbolt dominates. It can take off at a staggering 21,148 kilograms. The Frogfoot, by contrast, tops out at only 17,600. That's a huge advantage for the American plane, because for an attack aircraft, the ability to haul as many weapons as possible is absolutely critical. Score: 10-9 for the A-10. Round 2. Speed and maneuverability. We know the A-10 can carry more weapons, but does that extra payload make it sluggish compared to the Su-25? The A-10 is powered by two General Electric TF-34 turbofan engines, each producing 4,112 kilograms of thrust. This gives it a comfortable cruise speed of about 560 kilometers per hour at low altitude and a maximum of 833 kilometers per hour at 1,500 meters. The engines provide stable, controllable flight at low levels, which is perfect for strafing runs and bombing. The Su-25 uses two Tumansky R-19-5 turbojets, each with about 4,100 kilograms of thrust. That setup gives it greater agility at low altitude and a tighter turn radius, which is especially useful in mountainous terrain or when operating from small airstrips. With a max speed of about 950 kilometers per hour in combat load and a cruise speed of 750 kilometers per hour at low altitude, the Su-25 is clearly faster than the A-10. Verdict: the A-10 offers greater stability at low altitude, essential for precise strikes and heavy weapons use. But the Su-25 is faster and more agile, which makes it better for quick in-and-out strikes in dangerous zones. Score: 10-9 for the Su-25. Round 3. Armament. This is probably the most important criterion for any attack aircraft. After all, what's the point of high speed if the plane can't perform its main mission, close air support? Let's start with the onboard cannons. The A-10 Thunderbolt II is armed with the legendary 7-barrel 30mm GAU-8/A Avenger cannon, carrying 1,350 rounds and capable of firing up to 4,200 rounds per minute. Its shells can penetrate the frontal armor of main battle tanks. The typical tactic involves low-level passes over the battlefield, precise strikes on individual tanks and vehicles, and suppression of enemy firing positions. It's exactly this iconic that made the A-10 a legend. The Su-25 Frogfoot carries a twin-barrel 30mm GSH-30/2 cannon with about 250 rounds and a rate of fire of 1,500 to 1,800 rounds per minute. It is effective against light armored vehicles and fortified positions, but falls short of the GAU-8 in both ammunition capacity and raw destructive power. Now, let's look at their external weapon loadouts and variety. The A-10 has 11 hardpoints and a maximum combat load of 7,200 kilograms. It can carry precision-guided air-to-ground missiles, unguided rockets, JDAM, smart bombs, conventional free-fall bombs, and even air-to-air missiles for self-defense. This versatility allows the A-10 to take on a wide range of missions, from wiping out armored columns to striking fortified positions with pinpoint accuracy. The Su-25 does its best not to lag behind. It has 10 hardpoints and a maximum combat load of about 4,400 kilograms. It can also carry guided and unguided rockets, bombs, cluster munitions, and air-to-air missiles for defense. The Su-25 is versatile in its own right, but it falls well short of the A-10 in both total payload capacity and the number of weapon stations available. Score 10-8 for the A-10.
Round 4. Avionics and Targeting Systems. In this round, we compare the targeting complexes and guidance systems that determine strike accuracy, the ability to operate at night and in adverse weather, as well as integration with ground-based target designation. The A-10 Thunderbolt II is equipped with advanced targeting and navigation systems, including laser designators, GPS navigation, and full integration with ground-based target designation networks. The aircraft can employ a wide range of precision-guided munitions, such as JDAMs and laser-guided missiles, allowing it to operate effectively both day and night, even under difficult weather conditions. Its real-world accuracy, proven in the Gulf War and later conflicts, makes the A-10 a highly precise attack platform, capable of destroying individual tanks and fortified positions with minimal expenditure of ammunition. The Su-25 Frogfoot relies on a simpler set of targeting electronics, including optical and electro-optical sights, TV and IR systems, as well as navigation and target designation integration. However, its ability to employ modern guided munitions remains limited. The Su-25 is most effective during daytime missions and in relatively favorable weather conditions. Its accuracy is solid when using standard unguided bombs and rockets, but it falls short compared to the American A-10 when operating with guided weapons at extended ranges. Verdict: the A-10 excels in terms of the accuracy of modern weapons, night and weather capabilities, and integration with ground target acquisition. While the Su-25 is reliable and easy to operate, its systems are inferior in flexibility and accuracy when operating modern guided munitions. Score 10-9 for the A-10. Round 5. Protection and Survivability. Attack aircraft often operate in close proximity to the battlefield, where they constantly face the risk of ground fire and enemy missiles. So what measures did the designers of these planes take to minimize the chance of losing the aircraft and, most importantly, the pilot? The A-10 Thunderbolt II is built around a titanium bathtub armor capsule that shields the pilot and critical systems. All vital components are redundant. Flight controls, hydraulics, and electrics are backed up with secondary systems.
The A-10 is equipped with countermeasures against air defenses, including chaff and flares. There are documented cases where heavily damaged aircraft managed to return safely to base. For emergencies, the jet relies on a proven and reliable ejection seat system. The Su-25 Frogfoot features an armored shell surrounding the cockpit and engines, made of titanium and steel. Many of its key systems are also duplicated, boosting survivability. During its combat debut in Afghanistan, the Su-25 demonstrated its resilience by returning from missions despite hits from manpads and anti-aircraft fire. It is equipped with flares and ECM to counter enemy air defenses. The ejection seat is designed to work effectively even at low altitudes, further enhancing pilot safety. Conclusion: both aircraft are exceptionally tough and capable of operating in the hottest combat zones. There's no significant difference between them in this regard. Each offers strong armor, redundant systems, and effective pilot protection. Score: 9-9, a draw.
Round 6. Range and endurance. We've already established that the Frogfoot is noticeably faster and more agile than the A-10, but which of these aircraft can actually stay in the air longer and carry out missions farther from their base? The A-10 Thunderbolt II has a maximum range of about 4,600 kilometers without refueling and a combat radius of roughly 460 kilometers when carrying a full payload. Its cruising speed at low altitude is around 560 kilometers per hour, which allows it to loiter over the battlefield for extended periods. Crucially, the A-10 is equipped for aerial refueling, significantly extending its operational reach and making it an exceptionally autonomous attack aircraft for long-duration missions. The Su-25 Frogfoot has a combat radius of about 300 kilometers with a standard weapons load and a maximum range of around 1,950 kilometers without refueling. Its cruising speed at low altitude is 750 kilometers per hour. However, the Su-25 lacks in-flight refueling capability, limiting both its endurance and its ability to remain in the combat zone for long. Conclusion: the A-10 clearly comes out on top in terms of range and endurance thanks to its larger fuel reserves and the crucial advantage of aerial refueling. Score: 10-9 for the A-10.
Round 7. Cost and maintenance. In this round, we evaluate how practical and economical these aircraft are to operate, as well as how easily they can be serviced and repaired under field conditions. The A-10 Thunderbolt II costs around $46 million per unit, and its flight hour expenses are relatively high due to complex avionics and twin turbofan engines. Fuel consumption is moderate, and component lifespan is long, which supports extended service life. Repairs can be performed in the field, but the aircraft relies on specific and expensive spare parts, requiring well-developed logistics and infrastructure. This makes ground support less mobile and more dependent on established bases. The Su-25 Frogfoot is significantly cheaper, roughly $19 million per aircraft, with lower operating costs overall. Its simple design, widely available spare parts, and high reliability allow for quick repairs even on austere airfields without advanced infrastructure. Fuel consumption is moderate, and component durability is sufficient to ensure long-term service under a wide range of conditions. Conclusion: the Su-25 wins in terms of cost-effectiveness, ease of maintenance, and ground support mobility, making it more suitable for large-scale use and operations with limited base infrastructure. Score: 10-9 for the Su-25.
Round 8. Combat experience and deployment. The A-10 Thunderbolt II saw its first combat use during the 1991 Gulf War, where it proved exceptionally effective in supporting ground forces. Throughout the conflict, the A-10 destroyed thousands of enemy vehicles, including tanks and artillery, while suffering minimal losses. In total, 715 aircraft were built, with none exported abroad. The A-10 remains a unique attack aircraft operated exclusively by the U.S. Air Force.
It has also seen extensive action in later conflicts, including operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Su-25 Frogfoot first proved itself in the 1980s war in Afghanistan, demonstrating excellent low-altitude maneuverability, high survivability under fire, and effectiveness against armored vehicles and fortified enemy positions. Since 1978, about 1,320 pieces have been built. Over the following decades, the Su-25 was heavily used in numerous local conflicts, such as both Chechen wars, the Georgia conflict, the Syrian civil war, and most recently, the ongoing war in Ukraine, where it has been employed by both sides. Overall, the aircraft has participated in more than 15 major combat operations, making it one of the most battle-tested and widely used attack aircraft of the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Today, the Su-25 remains in service in over 20 countries, including Russia, several post-Soviet states, and even in nations like Algeria and Ethiopia. This demonstrates its reliability, adaptability to different environments, and versatility in a variety of combat roles. Verdict: the Su-25 comes out ahead in terms of the number of combat missions, the breadth of its deployment, and the scale of its involvement in conflicts. Score: 10-9 for the Su-25.
Round 9. Upgrades and future prospects. Now let's talk about how these aircraft have evolved over time and how much time they have left to serve. The A-10 Thunderbolt II has undergone several key upgrades. The most modern version is the A-10C, which received digital avionics, improved targeting systems, and compatibility with advanced precision-guided munitions. There were also prototypes and experimental variants, such as the YA-10B, a two-seat version equipped with enhanced electronics for reconnaissance and night all-weather operations. Another project was the A-10 PCAS, an unmanned variant designed to test remote control and automated close air support. However, both prototypes were ultimately canceled and never entered serial production. Despite the age of the original design, the A-10 remains in U.S. Air Force service and is expected to continue operating at least until the 2040s. The Su-25 Frogfoot followed an even more extensive and successful modernization path. Beyond the Su-25 SM and SM-3 upgrades, several specialized variants were developed. The Su-25T, optimized for tank hunting and equipped with advanced anti-tank guided missiles, the Su-25UB, a two-seat trainer, and the Su-25K KM, export models with localized avionics. Experimental projects such as the Su-25TM and upgraded Su-25 SM-3 featured digital targeting systems, reinforced armor, and expanded smart weapons capability. There were also more exotic versions, like the Su-39, which expanded its role into anti-ship and advanced anti-armor missions. These modifications have ensured the Su-25 remains relevant and capable of performing a wide range of modern battlefield tasks. Verdict: the Su-25 takes the edge in terms of the number of variants and operational flexibility. While the A-10 had some fascinating modernization concepts, most of them never progressed beyond the prototype stage. Score: 10-8 for the Su-25. Conclusion: so after 9 intense rounds, the score stands at 84-84, a draw. Surprising? Maybe, but in truth, that's exactly how it should be. The A-10 and Su-25 were never true rivals. They are reflections of two different schools of thought, two different approaches to the same mission. The A-10 Thunderbolt II embodies the American philosophy: a massive cannon, a dozen bombs and missiles on its pylons, advanced avionics, and an emphasis on delivering precise, pinpoint strikes with surgical accuracy. The Su-25 Frogfoot, on the other hand, represents the Soviet design ethos: simplicity, rugged reliability, and the ability to operate in virtually any environment, from the mountains of Afghanistan to the deserts of Africa. Each became perfectly suited for its own army and its own era.
And most importantly, both proved one timeless truth. As long as there are soldiers on the ground, there will always be a need for an aircraft to protect them from above.